And the question for each of you today, and me, and everyone else, is whether this will be another shameful chapter in American history that we are now living through, when those self-same rights are violated, and it will take generations and years and decades later for a commission to look back on the post-9/11 era and cite it for another shameful chapter in American history? Or can this be a courageous chapter in American history? While these violations are taking place, people awoke, people organized, people went to the streets, people went to their town councils, people went to their Congress, people went to their family and their friends, people went to their newspapers, people went to their internet, stood up, fought back, called it for what it is, and turned it around while it was happening. Not years and decades later. And that, ladies and gentlemen, simply put, is the challenge for each one of you. Because this is not a day for an all-day conference as the sun begins to come out, and for us tomorrow to return to our families and our busy lives. Because you are here, you bear a special duty. You know what's happening to the frog. You know that you cannot say, I did not speak up because it did not affect me. You know it does. You know it affects your brothers and sisters, and you know it affects you personally, because everything that is done in the name of the people. It is done in the name of the United States of America. Now, time doesn't allow us to examine every assault on civil liberties that has occurred. It doesn't allow us to examine the Patriot Act in the detail that it deserves. Law schools now are devoting entire semesters to the war on terrorism, to the questions of civil liberties, to the issues of human rights, and everything we're summarizing today. Vast amounts of books and materials are available to you on the internet. The ACLU.org is an extraordinary resource, a wonderful organization known as the Bill of Rights Defense Committee, BORDC.org, who met in the wake of 9/11 and the passage of the Patriot Act in Massachusetts in a group far smaller than this one, and said, what are we going to do about it? And they wrote a resolution upholding the Bill of Rights and condemning the Patriot Act, and they went to their little town council. And the town council approved that resolution. And they formed the Bill of Rights Defense Committee. And they got organized, and they spread across this country, and today over 400 cities and towns across this country have adopted those resolutions. It was done in Los Angeles, the largest city at the time to do so, and then New York, and then Chicago. And as Chris said, I was never more proud when I went to Pasadena to their city council, and in their 3-minute time limit tried to say much of what I've been saying to you here. And as I chronicled those dark chapters in American history and came to the chapter regarding the internment of the Japanese, I thought to myself, and I said to those city council members, how different would our history be today if in 1944 cities and towns around this country rose up and passed resolutions against the internment of Japanese Americans. That didn't happen. It was only the West Coast chapters of the ACLU that even rose up and resisted that effort. How different would that history be? How different would every one of those chapters I've talked about have been if the people had organized and risen up? So we don't have any excuses today. We can't hide behind any ignorance of what is happening around us. We've got to act in the face of what I, as a student of this history, as a constitutional lawyer, consider clearly the worst, if not one of the worst acts of executive aggrandizement of power in our history. And today it comes with awesome consequences as we have been lied into a war costing the lives of Americans, Iraqis, Afghanis, and others. And as our rights and the rights of our brothers and sisters in this community have been violated. This past week, Monday, in addition to being the day of protest for immigrant rights, May 1st was Law Day. And on Sunday, I discovered that the White House Office of the Press Secretary issued a presidential proclamation commemorating Law Day. And as you will hear, it was appalling. The proclamation reminded us that America's legal system is central to protecting the constitutional principles on which our nation was founded. The statement went on to say that we observe Law Day. As we observe Law Day, quote, we celebrate our heritage of freedom, justice, and equality under the law. Notice the word heritage. It was not apparently, according to the White House press office, that we actually were celebrating freedom, justice, and equality under the law. How could we? We have less freedom, less justice, and less equality under the law. But we have heritage of that. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And the cruel reality is that living under the Bush administration in 2006, those constitutional rights of citizens and non-citizens alike have been seriously eroded, and I see no limit to what this government will do to advance its repressive policies at home and its aggressive policies abroad by shamefully trampling on that very heritage it arrogantly and hypocritically cites in that proclamation.